Here is another short practice tip on the piece Flow by Benjamin Taylor. It was on the Falcone competition this year. This particular practice tip is applicable in many types of music, and it falls under my general category of teaching you to teach yourself. By that I mean you want to set an example that's very clear and easy to hear, so we need to create a way to make that example for ourselves easy to create. The passage I'd like to look at occurs at letter F. Letter F has a few challenges in flow, the first of which I've talked about earlier in a video. That's the gliss that the composer asked for. Right after that, now it's at a mezzo forte. It's got an accented note. Following that note, about an octave lower roughly, are a set of 16th notes that have no dynamic change except they aren't accented. In fact, they're marked legato. They'll sound slightly softer because they don't have the accent to start the note, and yet they're still at mezzo forte. On some of the recordings, those 16th notes got lost. That's partly an acoustic situation. In the lower octave, we don't project quite as easily, so we actually need to work a little harder to get the same volume of sound out to the audience. We might feel it here as the same, but what's important is what gets out there. So in slow motion, the notes I want to play are these. When I add the metronome, those 16th notes become a little harder because I'm trying to do a legato tongue at a sort of a fast tempo. This is 104 is what's marked. So I'm trying to use only enough tongue to separate the notes. I don't want them short. I don't want them to have strong attacks either. But I want them to have that soft legato attack. So what I'm going to try to do now is play the preceding note, the accented mezzo forte, and then the non-accented mezzo forte 16ths. And for simplicity, I'm going to start that previous note on just a plain half note on beat 1. The first 16th is on the and of beat 3. Now, if you're having trouble getting that volume to match reasonably well, then I would suggest slurring the 16th notes for the time being. It eliminates one part of the equation, that's the tongue. If we slur them, we can focus more on just the proper balance and dynamics. I'll go back and forth between playing them slurred and then tonguing lightly. My idea, as always, is to simplify things to make sure we really are playing what we want to play. Intellectually, if I were sight reading this piece, I would want to play the accented note, the long note up on the high E flat, that's marked, and then I'd want to play legato 16ths very smoothly and evenly at the proper dynamic. That's what I'd want to do. But that isn't necessarily what would happen because I'm not used to tonguing at that particular tempo and that particular range with that particular articulation on the 16ths. Things like that can throw us off just a little bit. So we simplify the practice, get it right, and then add the complications back in. In case you couldn't tell, that was quite a bit more work for me. I've accumulated now several challenges playing that opening ascending line smoothly because this is all part of a cantabile section. That line is a little hard to play smooth. Then the next measure I have the gliss to play, which is a little bit hard, and then the contrast I was talking about between the note up here at mezzo forte accented, the 16th down here, mezzo forte legato. So as I say, break up your practice like this to make sure you've got the pieces correct. Then when you do, put them together. You may find you need to go back and forth a bit between the out-of-context practice and the in-context practice in order to get things really smooth in context. But that extra work will make your performance better. I think you'll be more happy with the end result, and you'll have a slightly better effect on the audience, which is what music is all about. I hope that helps. Thanks for listening today.